YouTube, it's Linnea. How are you? I'm back for another video. I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple of herbs. I have with me an herb called Agrimony. It's a great herb for protection. It's a little leafy and kind of stemmy. It's very effective when it comes to protection. I use it a lot when I go around my home outside. I use it with sulfur because it's quite strong when you mix the two together. It's also good in a dream pillow to avoid nightmares. If you mix it with my next herb I'm going to show, which is called Angelica root. You mix it with that and some mugwort. It's great for nightmares. If you have a hex against you, which is not as common as you would think, but if you do, and you mix it with your spell that you're doing to counteract that hex, it actually not only sends the hex, not only removes the hex, but it sends it back to the sender. And sometimes, in some cases, a little stronger than they sent it to you. So there's that. It is a very active herb when it comes to battling blockages and fear. It will help you in a love spell if you're having a blockage in that area. It will help you build your marriage if you're, banging your heads against the wall. It will help you if you're trying to find a job and having a difficulty there. You can use it to find a job. And anything that you're having a blockage in, it's wonderful for that. If you're having fear of maybe getting a promotion, it'll help you resolve the fear. If you're having fear of maybe you're getting your first apartment and you're scared about living alone, it'll help you with that. Any fear you're having, any blockage you're having, anything like that. I keep a book, and I highly recommend doing so. I know a lot of people use their Book of Shadows to keep information on herbs, but wrong arm. Wrong arm. Again, look, the camera is backwards for me. I keep a lot of herbs. I have them there, and I have them there. This is really difficult when it's backwards. Anyway, I keep a lot of herbs. And I do a lot of spells with herbs, and I do a lot of other work with herbs. So I keep a book that I've made, especially for my apothecary. And when I try something out and it works, I record it. When I try something out and it doesn't, I record it. And any info I gather, I record. So I have this nice trusty book. And so I keep info in it, and I thought I'd refer a little bit to stuff I've done. I talked about the nightmares, especially mixed with mugwort. It enhances all your healing spells. I forgot about that. I just did a healing spell and didn't include it. But at any rate, it works great with healing. You can use it to stuff your poppets. I use this lavender and chamomile because the lavender and chamomile is really calming. The agrimony helps to heal. Let me see. Let me double check here what I'm doing. In older days, way back when, it was used to detect witches. So you could use it where you went to a house. I recently saw a video, I won't mention the name, of someone who said they thought a witch was living down the street from them. In the older days, you would use this to detect a witch. Now, how that worked, I don't know. I just read it somewhere that, I think in Scott Cunningham's book, possibly in a different one I'm going to show you in a few minutes, that it was used in much older times to detect other witches. So there's that. I've used this in many incense spells. I make people incense spells and send them just enough to burn 1 or 2 times, and do a little spell and send the incense up with their spell in it. And I've used agrimony for many different spells. I've used it for healing. I've used it for fear blockages. I've used it for love blockages, job blockages. It is really an all-purpose herb when it comes to blockages, protection, and fear, as well as nightmares. Don't forget the nightmares, because it's a great herb for that. My daughter has tremendous nightmares, and I have used this with mugwort, lavender, chamomile, and some Angelica. Angelica's a booster, and it is terrific for nightmares, so keep that in mind. Agrimony, great herb. haven't heard a lot about that, so I definitely wanted to share that with you. And I'm trying to cover some herbs that I don't hear a lot about because, by the way, it doesn't have any adverse reactions. I want to be sure I include those when I come across them. Anyway, I'm trying to show a lot of herbs that I don't hear a lot about on YouTube because you hear a lot about standards, and I've tried really hard to add a variety to my herb uses because I found myself using the same herbs over and over, and I just wanted to do a huge variety because there are so many that add such a different touch to your magic and to your healing properties. So I wanted to use different herbs. So my next one is called Angelica. It is a root. I believe you can get it in different forms, but I use the root. I use the magic bullet to make it into a less rooty substance when I need it, but it is a root. Mine is. It's great for protection. It's great for healing. I have read, and I do not recommend this. Again, I do not recommend this because I do not know. I have not done it. But I have read that if you smoke it, it can bring visions. I do want to point out it is abortive. It raises your blood pressure. It can cause, it affects the heart. Okay. Yeah, it can affect your blood pressure, it can affect the heart, and it is abortive. I want to be really clear about that. This is an abortive herb. If you are pregnant, do not use it in any way, shape, or form. I would not even recommend touching it. I would not do anything if I were pregnant to risk that. Angelica. Okay. When the plant is planted on your property, it's protecting your property. Period. I go around my house about monthly, sometimes a little more often, just depending. And I use the Agrimony, I use Angelica, and I use an array of herbs, and I use sulfur. And I go around my entire property outside, and I put down a protective layer of herbs. When you are growing Angelica on your property, you don't necessarily need to do that. It is completely protecting your property. So that's something good to know. A lot like rosemary does. So that's something good to know. It's used in all protection spells and sachets, incenses. It's great for that. Let's see. It attracts positive energy. So, you know, when you smudge, say with the white sage, you usually go around afterwards with some sweetgrass to attract the positive energy back when you've gotten rid of the negative. With Palo Santo, you don't need to do that because it gets rid of the negative and it attracts the positive at the same time. Well, Angelica protects against negative energy, but it also attracts positive energy. So that's really a good thing to know. Another thing about Angelica is it is a huge spell booster. So, and it really only takes 1 or 2 pieces of this root to do its work. It is an extremely strong herb. So, you know, I order it by the quarter pound, and a quarter pound of that will last me 7, 8, 10 months. And I use it in almost everything because it's just such a spell booster. And I literally only use 1 or 2 pieces because it's just that powerful. It's a very strong herb. I burned it to bring back lost love, so I put it in incenses to bring back lost loves. It's set in powder form to invoke angels. I have used it to work with my ancestors, and I have used it to work with my goddess. You can make it into a powdered form and sprinkle it in the shoes to relieve tired feet and achy legs. And I have done this for my son-in-law. He is a salesman who walks quite a bit, and I don't know why I'm looking like he wouldn't approve, because he would. And I think I've actually told him that if you sprinkle a little in the shoes, it relieves achy legs, and it helps your feet not get so tired when you're walking a lot. It actually creates a barrier against negative energy. I meant to say that when I said it attracts positive energy. It not only attracts the positive energy, but it it makes a barrier against negative energy. It's great in sachets, it's great in incense, and it's great to put around your home. I don't know what else I can say about it, but I do want to recommend a couple of books. This video is getting long. The first book has been recommended 1,000 times, but I'm just going to mention it right quick. The Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs by Scott Cunningham is a plethora of information. It's really good. It mentions most herbs you could think of, and it has their uses, their importance, and so on. It's just a good book. It's an all-around good book. But I wanted to mention one I haven't heard of yet, and this book mentions tons of things other than just herbs. This book is called The Encyclopedia of Magical Ingredients. It mentions things like chocolate and, gosh, I can't think of any off the top of my head, the cauldron, and caviar, and the elements, and trees, and the elephant, and hail, and your hand, and hair, and newspaper. It mentions anything that could be considered a magical ingredient. It's an amazing book, and it is by Lexa, L-E-X-A, Rosian, R-O-S-E-A-N. It is a great book. Again, I recommend it. It's an older book and might not be easy to get a hold of, and I have not checked where it's available, which I probably should have done before I made the video, but nonetheless, again, it's The Encyclopedia of Magical Ingredients by Lexa Rosian. It's a great book. I highly recommend it, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Please remember, you are all divine, sacred beings of light and love. And again, this is Linnea. I hope you have a great day, and thank you for watching.